Hey, we out here.
We're here. We're live.
Yeah, I like your hat, man.
Thanks. This is the victory hat.
The victory hat.
I, I wear this hat after the Bengals win, and
Yeah.
luckily, I've been able to wear it a lot.
What are some of your game day superstitions? Because I know you've got. I have. So I have tons.
Uh,
Any that come
I
to
really
mind?
don't. I don't really have any game days. The only game day superstition that I think that I have is I like to crack open a Miller Lite when Scott Hansen says 7 hours of commercial football start now. And typically, when I do that, like good things happen in fantasy football. And when I don't do that, it's a dud of a week. Like last week, although I did win, my team didn't do great, and because I wasn't there to watch at the beginning to crack open the beer, so that's probably my biggest one. But I'm not as superstitious as you are. I'd love to hear yours.
Well, I won't go through all of them, and they're not so much like I guess what is the definition of ritualistic? I don't really know. Um, It's not so much that I have to do them. It's not like an OCD thing or like I blame myself if something goes wrong if I don't do these things. But it's like I've done them. I've had success, and I'm not. I don't need to go out of my way to continue doing it. So I'll just do it. Like for example, I buy a Sunday shirt every year. It's a new thing I started last year. The Browns obviously did very well last year, and I wore the same shirt every Sunday. So I'm doing the same thing this year. I got bought a new shirt. It's going to be my annual thing. I figured I should make it a thing, and I wear the same
Have I
shirt on
seen this shirt?
Sundays. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, it was the Miles Garrett shirt last year.
I know that one, but what's the one for this year?
Oh, you've seen it. It looks awesome. It's a brown shirt, but it's got like it looks like a concert poster.
That's right. You wore
Yeah.
it. You wore it when you came over for week one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And every Sunday since.
Nice.
Uh, but I do a couple other things. Like there's like a song that I listen to just to get myself pumped up before the 1 o'clock game start. That's not important what song that
What's the
is.
song? I want to know.
Not important. That's not
Now we got to
important.
know that.
No, 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 no. You know, yes, you know that. But I do some things like that. I don't think I do anything else. Oh, one of my longest running, I guess you'd call it a superstition, is I never check my fantasy scores until the 1 o'clock games are over. I mean, I'm looking at the stats. I might look up a box score even if I have a betting odds or something, or if I've got like stats I'm keeping track of. I don't like ignore the ticker at the bottom, but I don't check my scores. It's not important. Nothing I can do. What I will do is I will check for any injury updates for the 4 o'clock games, just because you don't want to be caught with your pants down, right?
That'd be awful.
You
Yeah.
can you can understand that, but yeah, that's mostly it. But I'm sure that I've got other ones that if I realized them, I probably wouldn't want to mention them.
I want to figure out what this game day hype song is
I
of
mean,
yours. I'm
honestly,
not.
none of this shit's worked for 20 years, so it's not like it matters all that much.
That's very true.
Um, yeah, dude, I've been on a hot streak with gambling lately.
Really?
I mean, kind of, yeah. I think I've won like $200 in the last 2 weekends.
Who's your big? What was your big money gamble that you
So,
took a big risk
so
on and got?
I've been doing these same game parlays, and they get a little hairy, and I usually only do legs that are really likely to happen. But you need to stack like 4 or 5 of them, and that's how you get. So I'll give you an example of one I hit on this last weekend. I think it was with the Bills. The Bills in Houston. I've been, not surprisingly, I've been targeting games where they're pretty lopsided. Um, but you still, I mean, this one was close. So let me see here. This is super interesting to everyone, right? Okay, so it was for the Bills or Houston at Buffalo, and it was a 5 leg same game parlay. It was Bills money line. Bills first to score 15 points. Zach Moss to get over 44 and a half rushing yards. Josh Allen to have 2 or more passing touchdowns. And then the Bills to score under 40.5 points. So
Ooh,
it came down to the absolute wire. I got everything, and the Bills ended up winning like 40-0, but it was just under. And
man.
yeah, but I'm doing some other like player props. I've lost a couple of them, um, but like Austin Eckler to get over 53 rushing yards last night. Oh my gosh, give that to me all day. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm only getting like $17 for winning it, but like that's it, unless he gets hurt, that's happening. Um,
Exactly.
so I did another parlay. I won't go through the details of it, but I think it was also another lopsided game. But hey, man, you do what you can.
You do what you
It's
can.
all play money. I'm doing the thing where you drop $50 from your bank account to get like the free promo bet. You win some off that. Take your $50 out of there, and then you just play around with the rest. You
Play
just
with house money. Exactly. That's what I do too.
exactly. So I'm not like a big gambler. I've got friends that bet on just things that I would never touch, like UFC. I've got a buddy that knows UFC really well. So if he were to give me, and he has, give me like, hey, bet on this guy, I would trust him, but I'm not doing it.
Right.
No way I'm doing that, and it's not worth putting like $5 on because I'm not even gonna watch it. Golf is another one. I've put some money on like the Masters and stuff. Well, it's for X player to be in the top 10, but it's like things get hairy, and I think the one year I did it, my guy didn't even make the second cut, so it's like I'm out with golf, done with golf. Um, but yeah, I like throwing some money down there here and there. I mean, fantasy is enough to have vested interest in some of these games I wouldn't normally care about, but I don't know. I got a wedding to pay for, right?
It's true. Yeah. Good point.
Okay, so today on the show, I think we're gonna stick to football. Maybe we'll touch on some baseball because the playoffs are starting tonight, right?
Tonight.
Tonight,
Yep.
Wednesday the 5th. Um, but we got to talk. We'll talk a little bit of baseball, but I'll lean on you a little bit more for that because you know that what's going on. Um, we got to talk about Urban Meyer.
Oh,
I mean, geez, Souks. We've talked about him a couple times, and I think recently is like as recent as like 2 weeks ago, I said I was rooting for the guy, like for no reason other than he's just tied to Ohio State, right? Like if he does well, Ohio State kind of looks a little bit, like it wasn't. I don't even know what it looks. I think I even said like I didn't have a fully explained rationale for why I would kind of be hoping he does well. I'm out. Done.
you're out.
I'm
Huh?
out. Urban's done. I
Off.
mean, I don't
Off.
think he's done. I would be surprised. I don't even know if he lasts the week. Like in
The
today's
reports
climate, I mean, it's just bad.
and the reports do not sound good uh about how the locker room feels about him as a leader. That is, if you lost the locker room, you're done. There's
That's the
nothing else you can
one thing you cannot do. I
do. Yep.
mean, you can. I mean, Mike Tomlin had spats with Todd Haley. Like they his coordinators and little internal tiffs.
Yeah, you do
Those
that
happen.
every now and
But if the players don't respect you, okay, I'm gonna read the. I sent this tweet thread to you, tweet thread. It's Mike Silver, so he did all the reporting on it, but he has this thread talking about over the last like 48 hours what's been going on in the locker room and in the front in the office and everything like that. And the worst one, this is like a 5-part thing, 5-part Twitter thread. The one that was worst to me was one player said, we looked at him like WTF. Right when he left, everyone started dying laughing, and he knew, and he knew it. Oh, oh
That is
man,
brutal.
that's
That is
so bad.
brutal.
That's like
Like, we weren't there. We don't know exactly what he said, but you have to think that he would have just been like, "Yeah, guys, that was kind of dumb. Whatever. Let's talk about next week. Let's talk about the next game. You know what I mean? Like, what on earth would he have said to make them react that way? You know what I mean?
I,
And there's like the reports of him being scared and he like canceled Monday's meetings and stuff because he was like nervous to face the team and like what is going on, man?
I mean, we're talking about like how to play this in quotes. I mean, that's kind of like a crude sentiment anyway, because the dude is obviously not making good choices, right? But if you find yourself in the situation, and we know this because we are both two very experienced front office head coach types, right? We've got
Well, of course, right?
years and years and decades even come between the two of us of
Yeah,
experience leading not only just NFL franchises, but NBA, MLB. We've spanned the globe.
we have.
When you find yourself in this kind of position, if you just go into it like, what? What's the problem? Yeah, like, yeah, Jerry, you were just at the strip club last night. What of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we're playing. Who do the Jags have this weekend? We got it Arizona this weekend. What are you concerned about? You know what I mean? If you just not act like nothing happened, because obviously you have people to answer to, but when you're talking to the team, coaches all the time say, what's the number one thing that you don't want a player to be? A distraction.
Right. Exactly.
So don't be a distraction. First, I mean, his actions are causing the distraction, but don't make it worse by canceling meetings and not addressing the team like you should be, like a leader should be. Again, this is coming from a place of the knowledge base, the experience base between the two of us, like we already mentioned.
We would never make a mistake like this.
I never have.
Never have either.
And
Yeah,
if I had, you wouldn't know about it because
that's
I
true.
know how to handle it, and so do you.
And so do I. Right. I completely agree.
You know,
One question: why was he even in Columbus? Like, why didn't he fly back with his team after a devastating loss in Cincinnati? Why wouldn't he go back with them and be with them on the plane and hang out and talk to everyone, coach? No, he's like, you know what? Hey, you guys go back home. I'm gonna go hang out and visit some of my restaurants here in Columbus. Like, I don't know. That's not what the general does. You know what I mean? You don't just
I could see that happening on a week that they're going into a bye. Hey, everybody, take a blow. Everybody gets 4 days off because that's usually what happens, right? I think
yeah,
you don't
right.
take a full week off. You take a couple of days off. Stay around, visit with family. He lived in Columbus for 10 years. He's from the area. It's not surprising that he'd have friends there, or like have a small birthday get together to go to. But this is mid-season. Like,
Mid-season
like
after a devastating loss to the Bengals.
it was a bad loss. I mean, it's a loss they could have. It's a win they could have had. They were
They could
winning
have
at
had it.
halftime, right?
Yeah, they were winning until the very end, the last second.
What I think is more from an outsider's perspective, not in terms of front office stuff and expertise and stuff, but from like I don't know him, I don't know them, that kind of thing. What's strange is to me is that I never heard any reports of him not being 100% dialed in at Ohio State.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
from everything we've heard, he's stuck. He literally does not leave the office. Like, he's there. His daughters are making him sign contracts that say he has to be more involved with the family. That's the kind of like dialed in like approach, or like like that we've typically seen from Urban. So like, what's different now?
why does he feel like the need to party it up on a Saturday night or whatever day it was? You know what I mean? Like in the middle of the season
It was a
after a
Friday night. It was
loss.
a Friday night.
Okay, day
Actually,
after.
that is the day after a bad loss, so he should have gone home. But now that I talk about like the bye week thing, like I could see having given the players like
An extra
we'll meet
day.
up on Sunday, or like we'll watch some game. We'll watch the who are they playing this weekend? Did you already tell me?
No,
Okay,
I don't
we'll
remember.
we'll, we'll watch
They'll lose anyway.
we'll watch that game together. I think they're playing the Titans maybe. Like we'll all watch the Titans. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna get
Yep.
together, food training session in the morning. We'll watch the Titans game as a team. Like I could see them giving a day off. So maybe he wanted to stick around in Columbus. But once you lose the locker room, dude,
It's over.
I just don't. I don't. I apologies. This isn't very good. It isn't very good show. Isn't very good radio or whatever. But can we think right now of any time, any examples of when a coach has lost the locker room? And presumably, I mean, this is just one person's report from what he knows from a couple of players he's talked to. But then they've done something or done enough that they've kind of gained it back, gained that trust back, or whatever. Can you
It's a
think of
good
anything?
question. Can't think of anyone that got it back. I could think of a few examples of where that you lose the locker room and it's just over. Bill O'Brien is a recent example of that, where he totally lost the locker room last year to the Texans, and that was it for him. But
I can think of scenarios where the head coach is booted, and then the interim head coach starts off on a little shaky ground, but then you kind of rally the troops a little bit because the team usually is bad because they just fired their head coach, and
yeah,
maybe they kind of get galvanized around the Greg Williams a couple years ago with the Browns. Like I think that happened. The defense was playing really really well at the end of the season. They didn't. I don't think they won much. I think maybe was that Baker's first year. Might have been Baker's.
might have been.
It might have. Doesn't matter. Um, so sometimes that can happen, but Urban Meyer, dude, you know that's the thing. He was already a very unlikable figure.
He's got a lot of drama and bad. Like there is just controversy that surrounds that
You
guy.
can you can clearly lay out every like a hater, a true hater could be like every single place he's gone, shit has followed him.
Yeah,
Like it's not like that for everyone else. Like even Pete Carroll, he left USC in shambles, and he should still be ashamed personally of what he did to that program. Like,
yeah,
but since then,
been
I mean,
quiet.
and there are, even though I think that he did some shady shit while he was there, there are still players that played for him that look up to him, and he changed their lives and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So it doesn't always have to be that way. That like you just have these unsavory characters that like sometimes things just follow them around. He is a common denominator in a lot of bad stuff.
a lot of really bad stuff.
Some things that you can kind of rationalize away and be like, well, he's trying to help people out, blah 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 blah. But it's just like one. At what point? How long does a resume need to be where you're like, listen, Shad Khan, like, I don't think so. What's Lincoln Riley doing? How's he doing?
I'm not gonna lie. If I was him, the roster for the Jaguars isn't bad. You know what I mean? Like, there's an opportunity to what?
You sure you want to? Are you sure about that? I mean, they're not losing these games because of Urban necessarily. He's got other coaches and staff and stuff around.
Well, but I mean, they have a lot of really good young talent. They have the opportunity if you get the right get the right coaches in there. They might you could do something with these guys.
I think
That's all
what
I
you,
mean to
I
say.
think what you mean is that they have started the rebuilding process. Nobody expected them to be good this year, but
Right.
they're starting the process of accumulating talent. Who knows
That's exact.
who knows this offseason if they make some splashy free agent moves, and
Yeah,
then
and if you got this young core of guys that you could potentially, we'll see what happens to them. Maybe you could build around them, but you won't be able to do it if you've got a coach and a development organization that doesn't do any of these guys any good. You could really screw some of these young players up. We've seen it happen in the NFL where a quarterback or whatever gets in the wrong system and just kind of wrecks their career, and it could happen here. You never know.
dude, what did he say to the players to make them all like laugh at him?
He had to have. Okay, so this is all
I wonder
speculation
if he
in my
cried.
mind because obviously I wasn't there, don't know. But in order for I'm thinking like as an adult, if a coach comes in and like does something, says something, addresses what we saw online, he had to have he had to have thought like Urban had to have like come in and just like made this awful, like sincere, like just horrible, like I made this terrible mistake. But he must have like been this total sad sack, I
Like
think, for
Tiger
some of the
Woods level, like Tiger Woods
yeah,
level.
yeah, like he's like like these. I'm sure that the players, who are it's not like it's a college team where you get these young kids, or it's like these adults, these 20-30 year old men who are like, yeah, dude, you didn't think that big of a deal. Like, I don't know. It's like, whatever happens. But he had to have been coming like this whole, like, oh, I'm, falling on the cross and all that type of stuff. That had to have been it. And then when he leaves the room, everyone's just like, seriously? Is that really what's what happened right now? I have to believe. I have to believe that's what happened. So I don't know. It's wild. But if the reports are true, there's some serious troubles in Jacksonville.
Tell me what's going on in baseball, man.
In
Yankees,
baseball,
Yankees and Red Sox playing a wild card game tonight.
wild
Do the
card game.
Dodgers in my cards also play tonight, or is that
They do
tomorrow?
not play tonight. I think they play tomorrow. So yeah, this is the Yankees Red Sox tonight. Got Garrett Cole pitching for the Yankees against Nathan Eovaldi, who I don't know as much about him. I'm gonna look his stats up right now to see how good he's been this season.
I thought you're a baseball guy.
Yeah, I hate the American League. The American League sucks.
Okay.
So I don't follow
So you've just split your expertise. You know, we just split it in half. You know half of the you know half about baseball. 50% of
I know
baseball.
I know what matters about baseball. Yeah.
Oh. Well, okay. Well, tell me what matters. I mean, I know that many people think the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, and they're playing the red hot Redbirds. Ooh,
Ooh,
tomorrow
yeah,
night.
they are. One game. This is it. This is all it comes down to. But this is
Stupid
what,
system.
and this is what Andrew and I were talking about this last week with you not on.
Oh, then we don't have to
This is,
rehash everything, but yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
not rehashing it, but just so you're aware, the Dodgers, who are one of the best teams in baseball for sure, now have this one game playoff. They're at the fight for their life in order to just advance to the first round of the actual playoff series. And they only missed that by one game. So that's why, as a fan throughout the season, you could point, and Andrew could point, to probably 6 or 7 different moments across the season where, like, yep, had that gone differently, we'd be the ones sitting, with home field advantage, and we'll be in good shape. We don't have to fight one game for our life this season. So that's why all these games matters, because when it comes down to the wire, it's not this huge lead that everyone's got. It's like these 1 or 2 games that if a call had gone differently, or if someone swung when they didn't swing or something, it's a whole different postseason landscape.
I really feel bad for the people that listen to this show for keep going there. I just can't help myself because you see all these games matter, but if you cut out 60 games, it could still come down to one game for the division. It's not like you don't have to have 160 whatever to get that's just a weak argument is all I'm saying. Like
It's not a weak
it could
argument.
always come down to one
If you
game.
cut down 60 games, if you cut down on 60 games, there'll be more teams that will do that, and so you won't really have the best team over the length of a full season. You'll just have the team that gets hot.
That's speculative. You don't know that because we've never seen
I
that.
definitely know that.
Okay. Well, this. I was thinking about this. This feels a lot like when the Cardinals ruined the Phillies' 100 win season. Could the Dodgers face a similar fate?
You had to go there.
Where
It's
we,
te-
I didn't go there. Baseball went there. Okay, we're in the
You did
situation
bring that up.
again. The best team in baseball has a one game for their life, and here are the Redbirds staring them down.
Well,
Yachty.
you've made me really unsure of who I actually want to win that game then, because I hate the Dodgers, but I also hate the Cardinals. Now, if it was any other team, I'd be rooting for I'd be rooting against the Dodgers, but I don't want the Cardinals to do that again. To beat a 105 win team, 105 wins. That's a lot of wins. That's like enough to clinch home field advantage throughout the entire thing, and they could potentially lose tomorrow and it's over.
You know what I would rather see? You're gonna hate this. I would rather see in baseball, kind of like a fantasy league that has no divisions, just the top 2 teams that win the most games play for the World Series. That's it, done. Or even the top 4 teams in the whole entire league. The top 4 teams have a semifinal and a final.
Okay, so if that was the case, and I don't actually hate that idea.
Why would you?
It
It's
would be
the
like
you've proven to be the best. You don't have to have a 100 win team lose basically because of like one lucky pitch. Like it's all it might come down to is like a dinger down the left dinger in the left field. That's it, done.
So if that were the case, and we were to go by those rules
Yeah.
this year, let's just say the top 14, top two teams in the American League, top two teams in the National League, they play each other, and then the winners play in the World
Sure,
Series.
sure.
It would be Tampa Bay against Houston, which yeah,
Consensus top best two best teams in that conference or whatever.
yeah, and then it would be San Francisco and LA Dodgers
Yeah,
in the National League,
yeah.
and
And no one will be upset at all.
no one would feel cheated about that or
No
that
one
someone
feels
got
cheated.
gypped.
Yep.
And that is the benefit of a long season, I think. If you have a 160 game season, you could actually get away with that, and that's okay because they're so far ahead of everyone else.
There is no benefit to a long season. We've already been through this. Like I really don't want to do this again. I'm so tired of it, and I've not been convinced. You've presented nothing that other than tradition, and you like it this way. Nothing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're wrong. I am saying you're wrong. But we don't have to rehash it again. Do you think that the two top teams, the Giants and the Rays, will eventually be in the World Series, and who will win?
I don't think that they will actually.
Did you already do this with
I'll,
Andrew last week? Did you already talk about who you think will win?
no, we did not.
Give it to me.
I don't see the Giants.
Why not?
Making it.
They're the best team in the National League.
I just don't like the Giants. I don't know. I just don't.
You
feel
don't
it.
like them? That's your reason?
No. Yeah, I think. Look, this is what happens. It is very common. It is very common that teams that win 100 games or over 100 games don't make it far in the playoffs. They just don't. They just something happens.
Why would that be?
Because anything can happen in a 4-game series or best of 7 series. You know what I mean? So I could see a team that gets hot like the Cardinals. I could see a team like the Brewers, potentially, making some noise. The Braves would play pretty good down the stretch. And of course the Dodgers, if they survive that first game, they have a rotation that could really win best of 7 series. So, I don't think that the Dodgers I don't think that the Giants are going to do it. The Rays, I think, have a better chance. I like the Rays' chance of going far because I just don't think that.
To repeat. Didn't they win it all last year?
No, the Dodgers won it. Well, last year didn't count because it was COVID, so the Dodgers World Series victory didn't really count.
Oh, true.
They played like 20 games last season.
So well, actually, I loved the COVID season. Apparently, according to my logic, that was the best.
That was the best. I mean, look, last year
it is a completely legitimate championship. I don't see why the lack of fans is the lack of fans bothers me in a competitive in like a competition standpoint more than the lack of all the games. A home field advantage should matter. When you play on the road, it should be a little bit more difficult. I mean, I think a hostile crowd, regardless of sport. I mean, even basketball. I mean, it's just a little bit tougher, and that matters.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, last year too, without fans, like it made you kind of question what you're even watching. Like the fans and the atmosphere, the fact that people are packing the house to see it and react to the drama and all this, without any of those crowd reactions and all type of stuff, you're like, it's just a bunch of dudes hitting the ball around with a stick and running in circles. You know what I mean? But when you see the crowd getting into it, it's like, oh man, this is like, this is America right here. America's past, Okay, but real quick. So last year they played 60 games, okay?
Love it.
And look at these wild teams that somehow were able to make the playoffs because they didn't play a full 160 seasons.
Well, they restructured the playoffs as well, though. I mean, they did restructure it so that more teams got in, right?
They did. Okay. But think about where these teams are. Okay, so here's an example. Last year, the National League Central sent 4 teams to the playoffs. 4. Okay, they sent the Brewers, the Reds, the Cardinals, and the Cubs. None of the Brewers are the only team that made the playoffs this season from Cardinals. That whole squad, and all four of those teams lost in the first round. Yet they totally dominated the playoff field participants because there wasn't enough game. If they played 160 games, those teams would have gotten knocked out.
Hold on a minute. You said Brewers, Reds, Cardinals, Cubs.
Yeah.
So Brewers and Cardinals both made the playoffs this year. Okay, and also what don't
The one game
they
I don't count. I count that as just hey, you're tied, let's do it. Technically, yeah, it's the playoffs, sure. Technically.
So you're saying that the Dodgers, the 103 win Dodgers, shouldn't have made the playoffs? What are you saying there?
I'm not
Careful,
saying they
Scotty.
shouldn't have won the playoffs. All I'm saying, my whole point is that last year, because they played so few games, teams that had no business making the playoffs got into the playoffs, like the Reds
I don't understand.
is
I
an
don't
example,
understand. I don't
and the
understand.
Cubs.
First of all, the Reds almost made it this year. The Cubs this
They didn't
season,
almost
well,
make it this year.
they were in contention. Up until 2 weeks ago, they were in contention for the final wild card spot. How
In
can you just discredit that?
when you say in contention, all you really
They were
mean
like
there
two
is
games back.
they were not 2 games back 2 weeks
They
ago.
were 2 games back. They were,
Really?
yes, they absolutely were. It doesn't matter what they absolutely were. But I think the larger point is that you play the games. You have to play the games, and they were able to win enough games, regardless of format, to make the
But that's my
playoffs
point.
in the
If they
season.
played more games, they would have lost enough games to not be, to actually reflect the team that they really are. That's what my whole point
Yes,
is.
but yeah, but you're distorted. You could say that with anything for the NFL. You could have a 32 game season, and the maybe Tom Brady, the 42, 43-year-old Tom Brady, wouldn't be able to last 32 games. Well, what? Like, what is that? What are we saying now? Okay, well, Tom Brady's not actually that good. He's got no business being in the playoffs because if you had to play 32 games instead of 16 or whatever, they wouldn't have won. Like, that's just a distortion of like of what
You're bringing the
you're playing the
sport
outcome. Well, yeah, because the logic doesn't make any sense to me. You're saying if they had played more games, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. A, you don't know
if
that, and B, why does that matter? That doesn't matter. They made the playoffs.
because it wasn't a real season. That's my whole
It
point. It's a
was an
2020.
absolutely real season. It
It
wasn't
was
a
not a real
standard
season.
season, but it was a real season. The
It
the
shouldn't
the
count.
the season LeBron's second NBA championship with the Heat, that was a shortened season because like a workers strike or a players strike, whatever. That still counted. That's still on the record books. It was just a couple fewer games. What does it matter?
A couple is different. Listen,
It was like 20 games.
20 games in
They
an
start they
NBA
started on
season.
they started on Christmas. So
Yeah, okay. We're talking about 100 games in baseball that weren't played last year. 100. A lot of stuff happens in 100. They only played 60 games.
as I've done before, I would argue that condensed 60 game season is a better showcase of how good teams can be at their best. And isn't that what we want?
No, that's not it at all.
We got to move on. We got to move on.
All right.
Do this forever. Um, I did want to note, I haven't prepped you for any of this stuff, but I guess it's not really my responsibility. Have you been paying attention to any of the NBA stuff going on? Like with like the vaccines and Kyrie Irving specifically and all the craziness that's surrounding that
No,
guy?
not really.
Okay, never mind, because it's not worth talking about.
Okay.
But the NBA is getting ready to start up. I'm actually have a NBA fantasy draft here in like 2 hours. I don't know what I'm doing for that, but
Scrap all the Bucks players.
I've just been hearing rumblings and grumblings about vaccines and states that are requiring people within indoor, because basketball played indoors, you have to be vaccinated and certain play. There's just all kinds of stuff going on with that. So I guess we don't have to get into the political stuff. But if you had heard about Kyrie, and he's basically saying that he's not going to play if they. I'm paraphrasing now, and actually, this is kind of I shouldn't have even mentioned it because I don't have all the facts. I don't know anything, but what it sounds like is that he's saying he's not going to play if they make him get vaccinated. If they require all the players to get vaccinated, he's not going to, so he's not going to play. And if they try to trade him, because I think it's like the state of New York kind of thing. The state of New York has the rule he could play for like on away games or something like that in other states. But if they trade him, then he'll just retire. It's like a whole big
Good.
mess.
Let him.
I didn't want this. I didn't. Sorry, Scotty. I set you up to fail here. I don't think that there's probably more nuance to this story than I'm giving it credit for. So we shouldn't probably just snap judgment on it unless you want to and go for it if you want.
I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm all for individual rights and stuff, but he's got the right to quit if he doesn't want to. If he doesn't want to abide by the rules. Plus, I hate Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, anyways. I mean, he was like, at least he dabbled in flat eartherism if he isn't an avid one. Uh, he kind of ruined the whole, you know, team dynamic in Cleveland when he was there with LeBron because he wanted to be the guy. And he's never done anything by himself on his own, really. I mean, what's he really achieved on his own team, Now he's what with Kevin Durant now and all this. Like now he's basically admitted defeat that he can't be the guy and never will be the guy. And
That's a bit of an unfair measuring stick. I mean, there are very few people that can just go do it all on their own. I mean, you could
well,
argue there haven't been anyone that's done that.
LeBron pretty much did it when he went back to Cleveland.
But he had Kyrie and Kevin Love, so it's like he had people, the good players. I mean, if you're talking about like star players, then then maybe not in Cleveland, but he certainly did in Miami. But Jordan had plenty of good players. I mean, Kevin Durant had to go to Golden State to win one. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
oh yeah. Okay, well, maybe as the season gets started, we'll get into basketball. We'll talk about
I
your
like to.
Bucks. We'll talk about your
Yeah,
Bucks. Um, Current rating, right?
that's right.
But I think right now we should get into our Power Five.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Boom sounder, Power Five, oh, powerful. Okay. We don't have any of those. I wish we had some. I need to. I need to get on that. Anyway, all right. So there's actually quite a few decent games. They're going to be close this weekend. I mean, first of all, next week we will after going into week 6, I guess. We'll do like a quarter or a third of the way through the season update on the standings for this because I think it's tighter than we all probably assumed. But all right, so this week the first game is Cleveland at the Chargers. Chargers -1. That's a tough one.
This is a tough one. This is a tough one to predict because the Browns have looked good, but they still look beatable. And you could say the same thing about the Chargers too. But the Chargers, I didn't watch. Did you watch the game yesterday?
Yeah, I watched it.
I didn't watch the game, but
Oh,
they
you should
won.
have. It was a good game. I mean, the Chargers look great. I mean, they don't look great, but they look good. I mean, the offense is doing well. The defense, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Raiders' offense is anything to write home that much about. I mean, they don't really have much of a run game. Josh Jacobs is that dude. I don't have like a vendetta against Josh Jacobs, but it's like one of those guys that should have just been should have been a stud. Like it was almost like I know he's not Najee Harris, but he was close to Najee Harris coming out of Alabama. And it's like if Najee Harris all of a sudden just kind of like had a couple nagging injuries and then just like an average like 3.5 yards a carry kind of running back, that would be
Hmm.
pretty disappointing, right?
Yeah,
That's the direction Josh Jacobs is heading. I mean, the dude's a hard worker. I don't know. He's always been labeled tough, but I don't know. There are certain players that I think just kind of are always a little bit banged up. And it's not because they just complain about it whenever other people just tough it out. I think there's some players just a little bit banged up. They bruise easier or something like that. And I think that he might be one of those players. Anyway, the Raiders don't have a very good run game. This is about the Chargers. um, uh, but yeah, I mean the Chargers I think are a team that most people think will get a wild card spot in the AFC. Um, and they've been playing well. Justin Herbert's looked great. The only thing is Cleveland's defense is I think just today after like the last night's game ended, the second best defense in the league. When you
it's
combine
pretty
when
good.
you look at all those factors, it's a good defense. I mean, I think the sack totals are going to be a little bit skewed. That Chicago game was insane.
Yeah.
Who gets 9 sacks in a game? Justin Fields, come on, buddy. Um, but I don't know. I mean, this is tough, and Cleveland has to travel out west too.
Yes,
So
exactly.
So that's tough. I mean, Chargers are on a bit. If you want to call it a short week, you can. I'm going with Cleveland. Um, if the spread was, I don't know. I'm going with Cleveland. I got to go with my boys. I mean, it's gonna be a close game. I think.
I think it'll be a close game too, but like you said, it's a home game for the Chargers. The Browns have to travel out west. Brownies are going to brown sometime, and I think it's going to be this week. I'm going Chargers.
Wow. Okay. Um, Buffalo at Kansas City, Sunday Night Football. This is
This is
going to
going to
be
be a game.
so. Right now the line is KC -3. I don't know how you don't look at. Now I'm actually second guessing my pick. Buffalo's defense is just as good as the Browns. I mean, if you look across if you're just like looking at your fantasy players, when you have a fantasy player playing against Buffalo, you're like, oh, that's not going to be fun. They have a great run defense. They've got a couple players in their secondary that can shut really good players down. They've done it multiple times. And Kansas City's defense has been bad. I took Kansas City, but here I am thinking to myself, they're going to be throwing all night long. Like, this is going to be a Mahomes. I mean, it's an AFC Championship rematch. That's how
Yes.
good this game is. That's why it's Sunday
Yep.
Night Football. I mean, and now with Buffalo's run game kind of picking up a little bit, Zach Moss has looked really good through 2 weeks. Singletary is still a bum in my mind. They just use him as like a, I don't even know. He's like a slightly better Duke Johnson.
I
I
can see
mean,
that.
it's a similar role. I mean, I took Kansas City. I'm going to stick with it. It's -3. It's gonna be a close one.
It is going to be a close one. I'm excited to watch this game. I think it's going to be a good game. I hope that this even is the AFC Championship game again this year. It could be a good one. I think though, I mean, the Bills have played the Steelers and they lost to the Steelers, but then
That was a
and they've
fluky
looked
game. The Steelers shouldn't have won
fluky
that
game.
game.
Steelers should not have won that game, but the Bills also shouldn't have lost that game.
Wow,
And
that's
then
deep.
and and okay, since then, while the Bills have looked great, they've beaten the Dolphins, they've beaten the Texans, and they've beaten the football team. So like it's not like they've really been just beaten the creme de la creme.
But they've destroyed them.
They did destroy him, and destroying the NFL is not a common thing. I know, I understand.
It's like Alabama. It's not Alabama. That's a little bit too generous. But it's like Clemson going out there.
It well, not this year's Clemson,
Oh,
but
we didn't even talk about Notre Dame losing to Cincy.
I know.
Oh man, what a
What a
delicious
great
little victory.
it's been good year for college football so far. Anyways, I'm going Chiefs because I think that the Chiefs Sunday night, the hometown, the crowd's gonna be electric. It's a hard stadium to play in. I think Tyreek Hill is gonna catch a whole bunch of deep passes like he always does, and the Chiefs are gonna win -3.
Indianapolis at Baltimore. Baltimore -7. Okay, so Baltimore is such a weird team for me this year because obviously they're good, right? But what was even the score against Denver last week? I mean, was it that close? I should know this. I'm sorry
It's
for asking.
23-7. It was not very close.
Not very
But
close.
Bridgewater did get knocked out with concussion pretty early on.
That's true. Baltimore, they lost to the Raiders. They had a really close game to the Lions. I mean, they're a good team, but I think something's got to give with Indianapolis. I Carson Wentz is still playing. He's playing through some injuries. I don't know. I went with Indianapolis, and it's just the believer in me that maybe they can win not by fewer than 7 points. I mean, maybe they even have a chance to win. That's kind of my thought. Like Indianapolis isn't garbage. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's a really good back. They've still got a good offensive line. I just think that they need to just have more offensive productivity, and it'll start clicking. I mean, this is also Carson Wentz's first year in the system. It's like it's going to be his fifth game. So at a certain point, things will start gelling. I know it's a tough matchup, but I think Indy covers the spread.
It's interesting that was your selection because if the spread was anything different, I would probably have a different opinion on this. I think that the Ravens are going to win this game, but if you look at the Colts, if you look at the Colts, really what they've done this season. I mean, they lost by 8 points to the Seahawks. They lost by 3 points to the Rams. And they lost by 9 points to the Titans. All very good teams,
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
All playoff teams.
Playoff teams. Okay, so they're and like you said,
what a rough schedule, man. Gosh,
it's a rough schedule, right? So their record does not necessarily indicate the team that they really are. I think as you know, as like you said, as Carson starts to continue to figure things out in the system, hopefully both of his ankles feel better now, and I think that they will at least be able to cover -7. So I'm going Indy. I don't think they're going to win the game, but they might only lose by three points or so.
You're going Indy, all right.
Yep.
Philadelphia at Carolina. Carolina -3.5, so they're a favorite by 3.5. Philadelphia is such a weird team to me this year because they look so good week one, and then they've kind of been really slow every other game. I mean, Hurts looks good. He's playing well,
Yep.
but not much else in this offense has been. I mean, Devontae Smith looks good. I mean, I think that we can all kind of acknowledge that as a rookie, he's having a pretty good rookie season through 4 weeks. But and the defense has played well too. I think that's the biggest part about Philadelphia is that their defense is a lot better than people give it credit for.
How could you possibly say that when they give up 41 points to the Cowboys and 42 points against the Chiefs? They've given up 83 points in the last 2 weeks, and their defense is good?
Yeah, oh yeah, okay, they gave up 80 points to two of the best offenses in football.
Well, okay, but if they're that good of a defense,
what are the other
they
teams?
would only give up 40 points.
They locked down the 49ers pretty well.
Okay.
And what was week one? Atlanta? I mean, they
Atlanta, the hapless Atlanta Falcons.
Well, how many points did Atlanta score?
6.
Okay, so it's like
Atlanta's a terrible team.
You just said, listen, their defense is good. I don't know what to tell you, man. The defense is good. It's not the best defense.
If they had a good defense, they would have held the Chiefs to 20 points.
They don't have the Browns defense. They don't have the second best defense in the league, but they've got an above average defense. I'm just telling, dude, just trust me on this, okay?
All right.
They do.
We'll see where they end up in the rankings at the
end
of the
now,
season.
Carolina has an even better defense
yes,
and a pretty potent offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot believe that I chose Philly in this game. I'm looking down at this paper. I'm like, did I just do this? But I did. I chose Philly. What a mistake.
That was a mistake.
But I think maybe it's 3.5 is not a lot. I really like. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of like the Panthers this year. I think Darnold is playing well. I think
okay, you're totally.
You're right.
Eagles?
I chose the Eagles. I wrote it down. I can't. If you would allow me to change it now, I would, but I'm not going to. I wrote it down.
I'm not allow you to change it now.
I'm actually going to circle it. Boom, Philly. I'm just saying, Philly. I think Philly's lost 2 or 3 in a row.
They lost 3 in a row. They did lose the tough teams. They lost the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs.
Right, exactly. I think Carolina. I mean, they're a good team. I think that they're playing well right now, but they did just lose to. They just lost to Dallas, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think McCaffrey's playing this week again.
Right.
I don't know. I think Philly might pull it out. I mean, why not? Is what I would say. I mean, right now, based on how they're playing, sure, Carolina is good. But I think at the end of the year, these two teams have very similar records, and maybe they win this one. I don't know. I'm not very confident in it, as you can tell, but I'm going with it.
Well, I'm going with the Panthers for really all the reasons why you just said that you should go with the Panthers.
You're welcome. I'm always here for you, buddy. I will say I love DJ Moore so much. I mean, the dude's a target monster.
Gets.
It's so telling how much that team and the coaches like him. When McCaffrey went out, Moore was lining up in the backfield and taking snaps out of the backfield. I don't know if you watched any of that game. I'm sure you saw some of it on Red Zone, but
yeah, I did.
They just used him more, And I mean, he had a crazy game stats wise, but everybody, I think a lot of people were looking at that matchup against Dallas, and what's the corner's name? Diggs, Trayvon Diggs for
Yeah, that's
Dallas.
what,
He has like 5 interceptions in 4 games. It's ridiculous. It's something crazy,
yeah.
and he's been shadowing team's primary receiver a lot. So I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, DJ Moore, like this might be a big Robbie Anderson game," like oh, but no, because the Panthers are. This is why I'm thinking I'm liking the Panthers more. Fuck, what did I do? What did I choose this for? The coaching staff is they knew that they got DJ Moore their best offensive player in other areas where that wouldn't be a limitation for them. So shit. Last game in our last game in our Power Five, the Rams at Seattle, the Thursday night football game. Seattle is a 2.5 point dog at home. I'm just gonna say it. I'm taking Seattle. I like Seattle in prime time. That's my analysis. I like him in prime time. Metcalf shows up usually. Lockett shows
I
up
need him too.
usually. Uh, Wilson shows up usually. I mean, Seahawks in prime time, and I like the Rams too. They're a good team. Um, but if you're giving Seattle as an underdog, I'm going to take it because I just don't. I think that these teams are pretty evenly matched. That whole division's stacked. Every one of those teams should make the playoffs this year. The Cardinals might be the best team in football right now,
They might be. They
but
honestly might be.
they might be. Um, I'm going Seattle. It's probably the pick I'm most confident about in this whole slate. Honestly, I mean, I could have convinced myself for the Bills. I could have convinced myself to go against the Browns because I'm just pessimistic like that. Same with Baltimore. Obviously, same for Carolina. These are some hard games to choose. But but
This is
I'm feeling most confident about Seattle at home on Thursday night. And also like on Thursday night games, I'm always going to lean towards the home team.
yeah. I I picked the Seahawks too because of very similar reasons. I think that home game, primetime game, that definitely screams of Russell Wilson just lighting it up and them scoring 40 points. And maybe it's a close game because the Rams are a good team, but if the Seahawks were favorite, I could easily see the Seahawks being a +3 favorite here, or
I'd take the
a
Rams.
-3 favorite, I should say, and I would maybe consider even taking them there. So if you're going to give me some points too, yeah,
Mm,
let's do it. Let's go
mm.
Seahawks.
All right, let's get that stupid. Oh wait, the bucket. So
Yeah,
you are fulfilling one of your many inconveniences you've accrued. Don't you have?
I've only accrued one actually.
All right. Well, tell the people what you've chosen as you get your thing pulled up here to read to the people. You've chosen a bad bet as your inconvenience, which
Bad
is
bet is
which
yeah,
is I'll explain this. The
yeah.
bad bet is you must place a $25. You can go higher if you want. At least a $25 bet on anything, any bet, any whatever that's has plus 500 odds. Oh my gosh, what are you doing here? Screen.
Did I
Ah,
lose you?
no, I'm still here, just killing it. There you are. So tell us, Scotty. What I don't know why there are easier things on here that wouldn't cost any money for you. What are you moving your screen around? There's technical difficulties
The
here.
orientation got messed. I was trying to pull my bet up because it's on my phone and I'm using my phone
I'm
to
sure
talk to
you
this.
know it.
So,
We should have put other parameters on this as like a one outcome thing, but you wanted to do a parlay, so go for it, Sky. Tell us what you. I don't even. Again, I don't. There's so many easier things on this list that wouldn't cost you $25. But I
but
guess
I would rather spend the $25 than do something either humiliating or cause me physical harm, like you eating a whole jar of jelly and Andrew chugging a bunch of orange juice.
he
So
didn't chug it, and I recovered. But I get your point.
I feel like that. So I did a 4-game parlay for 25 bucks. The payout would be huge if it all happens, but I chose the opposite of what I picked with my Power Five. I chose the Rams. I think it was -2 uh, for that game. I chose the Bengals +3 because I'll tell you what, the Houday Nation, they're coming to play this year. I'm wearing my hat again because the Bengals won again, against Jacksonville. We got a good team, got a good offense.
I don't want to hear
Give us
that. Go to your bets. I want your bets. Give it to us straight.
all right. I put the
What's your
Bengals plus
analysis?
3.
Your Bengals analysis?
I took the Steelers -1 against the Broncos. And then I'm really trying hard to remember my last game. I'm drawing a blank.
Very good, very good, excellent. Well,
So
four-game
we'll see what happens.
parlay. We'll see what happens. Thank you for fulfilling. Oh, I'm thanking you. You have to do it. Um, but I think as the tally stands now, Andrew's still got two left. I mean, he's been in the hole ever since we started. He
He's
got
almost lost every week.
and he drew instant. It's not instant. It's now instant. By the way, I'm making an official decree. If you pull double death, it's instant. So it's that is what it is. But he even pulled that, threw it back. So he's had bad luck with all this stuff.
He has.
Anyway, um, let her rip,
Time to get
buddy.
into it. All
Let's
right.
let's do Andrew first.
Andrew first. All right. As you can see, the bucket with all the teams
Yes,
in.
yes,
So
the
there's no
buckets.
shenanigans, no accusations of cheatery.
I mean, yeah, go
Can you
ahead.
hear it? Can you hear it
No,
when I
no,
shake
it's
it?
one of those things you can't shake. I wish that you could hear the rumblings and grumblings of all the helmets and stuff, but
It's really loud in my ear.
yeah, our technology's too good. It blocks all that stuff out. Just reach your hand in there and grab it. It's well shaken.
All right, here we go.
Andrew's first helmet, the
It says
Jags.
choose. No, it says
Oh,
choose.
oh, he gets to choose.
He
Oh
gets to
my
choose his
gosh.
team.
Well, okay, I'll text him now. Why can't he just be here? I'll text him now. Go ahead and pull for Andrew.
You mean Nick?
Sorry, yes. You can I guess I have to talk and do everything.
Nick gets the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, you're going too fast for me now.
You told me to pull for him.
I
You
know, but
you literally
I didn't tell
told me
you
to
to
do it.
say it. I said just have it ready and all this stuff. Andrew, you got the choose helmet. Choose your team. He's not throwing that back.
No, he's not
But he
throwing that.
can't. But he can't choose someone. I guess he can choose someone that we draw if he happens to like
He
whatever.
could choose anyone that he wants. Yeah.
Okay, in week 5. Okay, so we'll wait for Andrew's response there. For Nick, the Ravens, as we discussed, are playing Indianapolis. I don't know. I know I have him good authority because he sent me his picks that he chose Indy for that game. So do we throw it back? He chose Indy.
But did he choose Indy with the spread considerations? Because that's the difference. This is just win loss. You know.
Yes, yes, you're right. Well, how did you do this last week? Do we just take the favorite if he's a they're a 7-point favorite. Baltimore's a 7-point favorite at home. I guess you keep that helmet, right?
Yeah, 7-point favorite. Monday Night Football at home. I mean, they're 3-1. I don't know. But he did choose the Colts. I don't know. Should we throw it back and draw another one?
No, no, he keeps it.
All right.
I think that's fair. Because what are you
Okay.
gonna get the Jets next? Okay, anyways, damned if you do, damned if you don't. All right, Scotty, you
Nick's
got.
been riding lightning. Nick has not had to do one of these yet.
You're absolutely right. He hasn't. I don't know. I wasn't here last week, but yes,
He got a free pass last time.
it said free pass.
Yeah, he got the free pass.
Oh my gosh, good for him. All right, Scotty, go for yourself, bud.
For me,
Yeah. Yes, yes. Oh yes.
Kansas City Chiefs
The
again.
Chiefs again. The Chiefs at home against the Bills.
Oh, that one.
It's a
See, this is
spicy
tough.
one. It's a spicy one.
This is tough because while I don't totally pick the Chiefs, having to do a punishment with the Chiefs Bills Sunday Night Football game.
It's an inconvenience, but yeah.
Yeah, well, an inconvenience. Well, it's real inconvenient. So, at the risk of drawing a Jets or a Jaguars, I think I'm going to put it back and I'm going to draw another one.
Wow. Okay, putting the Chiefies back.
My new team is
Yes, yes. He's got his hand in the pot.
the Chargers
The Chargers at home against Cleveland.
against the Browns.
I'm telling you what, all of these games are tough, man. They're
It's tough.
a lot of coin flips.
I do feel better about this one than the Chiefs, though. I will say that.
All right. All right.
You ready?
Get your paw in there for me. And he's shaking it real good. Thank you for that. I appreciate a good shake. For Halloween, we should get like a broom to kind of stir it, like a big spoon.
It's like a cauldron.
Yes, similar to that. Yes.
Buffalo Bills.
Oh, jeez. Oh, the Bills. Oh, I don't want it. Put it back.
Put it back.
It's too rich for my blood. Put it back.
Going in.
Give me the Broncos or something. Give me the Saints. I want the Saints. Goodness gracious. Give me a bye week. Oh, you know what? Bye weeks are kicking in next week.
That's right.
That's a big deal.
I'm gonna have to do some work to figure out which helmets to take out.
No, you don't take them out. If you pull the helmet, you get the bye week.
Oh,
Oh, yes,
all right.
yes.
That's good. All right, here you go. Here's your helmet.
I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach right now. I can taste the jelly. The Falcons.
No, free pass.
Yes, yes. Free pass.
Son of a gun.
Free pass. The golden helmet of life.
Andrew chose as his team Arizona, the Arizona Cardinals against the 49ers.
Interesting pick.
Interesting pick.
Very interesting.
Going with the only undefeated team.
All right, so
remain undefeated.
All right, well there you have it. Well, good luck with your bet, Scotty. I'm sure Andrew will cash in some inconveniences at some point. We got a good list going.
We do.
But all right, dude. So do you have a top 3 for me? Do you even want to do that? I'm fading on the top 3. I don't know.
I'm fading on the top 3
but
too.
But it's like it's like a tradition almost. It's like we've been doing it for so long and we just keep doing it. Inertia is a very strong thing, Scotty. It's a very strong force.
It is a strong force. All right, what is? Give me your. You ready? You want to do?
I've never been more ready.
Okay, give me your top three categories.
I wasn't ready for that one. Okay. Then I would do top 3, like car models, a car make and model. How about that? You like that one?
No, I don't. But it's not my top 3.
Oh well, okay. Top 3 fast food chains. That's always a fan favorite.
It's a fan favorite.
And top 3 sports logos. That's a great top 3. Are you kidding me? And it's you can debate that one all day long too. Very good one.
Good.
Nice. I mean, top 3 you can do. There's so many good top 3s. That car one was a bogus one. That was just a panic. That was a panic top 3.
I've been there. I panicked on my top 3s in the past.
Did you? Have you?
Yeah. Okay. I
have. All right, Scotty. All time, give me top 3 late night TV show hosts.
All time?
Yes, all time.
I would go with Craig Kilborn. Jon Stewart. I'm counting him.
Wow.
And David Letterman, number 1, without a doubt.
Wow, without a doubt. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scotty. Good luck this weekend. We will hopefully strike it big. I'll let you know if I put some wagers down.
Yes, please do. Good luck.
That's the show. I'm out. All right. So if you've listened this far, you must, for some reason, like what you've heard. So given that, please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter @ObsessionCast for all future episode updates and whatever else we might post, sports related or otherwise. Thanks for watching.